Please stand by. Stardate 76,581.3. Andorian Imperial Guard, IGS Skylynx. Ship class, Kaizen Escort, T5U. Serial ID, AT-9, 42, 47, modified, no upgrades. Status report, beginning diagnostics. Subsystems power core, operational 99%, warp core, non-functional. Impulse engines online, deflector dish systems, negligible. Weapon systems, energy weapon bank. Forward cannons number 1A, damaged. Number 1B, damaged. Number 2A, negligible. Number 2B, operational. Number 3A, operational. Number 3B, operational. Number 4A, operational. Number 4B, undetected. Wing cannon, left, operational. Right, undetected. Kinetic cutting beam, operational. Mine launcher, operational. Mine payload count 200. Experimental weapon system, deactivated. Hull breach, each, on deck 1A through 4A. Life support, functional. Shield function, minimal. Hull integrity, negligible. Breach cabin pressure manageable. Warning, cabin sensors undetected floors 5 sections A, B, G, H, Z, through floor 6 sections A, C, B, G, J, K, L. Crew quarters compromised, beginning bulkhead lockdown. All personnel has 5 minutes to evacuate compromised areas indicated by red flashing lights. Please proceed to nearest safe zone or maintenance hatch. Tachyon induction relay, inactive. Phaser dispersal array, inactive. Wing battle drones, inactive. SIF, generator active. Hull repair estimated, 3 days 2 hours 21 minutes commencing. Stealth systems, functional. Cannon tactical pre-fire chamber, operational. Tactical phaser relay number 1 operational, number 2 negligible. Database, now connecting. Please select your rank, none. Greetings civilian freelancer. Activating training simulation. This is your first year of being an Starfleet cadet in the Andorian Imperial Armada. Members of T2 National Armada, your uniform for this rank is green and brown. It can be collected from the automated quartermaster if no one is available. You should also receive your Cadet Year 1 badge. And now, time to earn it. On behalf of Thermal Global Nuclear Media and T2 National Armada, welcome to Cross-Faction Boot Camp. Accessing Andorian Imperial Guard, Training Simulation Archive, Lesson 1. Greetings recruits. Chief Engineer Zinara Gehana Zeno Jeff, of the IGS Skylynx, here. For this simulation you may call me Ziggy for short. Now let's dig in. This class is intended for Year 1 cadets, but also can serve as a refresher course. Lesson 1, Part 1 the H.U.D, or heads-up display, sometimes just simply called HUD. First, to access, press the escape key in the top left corner of your standard keyboard. Then, click on the Rearrange HUD tab listed in the menu, on the left-hand side. This will open the HUD edit mode of your user interface. At this point, using your mouse or touchpad controls, you can now point, click, drag and drop every element in the HUD to where you want it. Even the chat box. For touchpad or touchscreen users, you will need to check your settings on your laptops or tablets for further details. Note, you will have to do this for both ground and space displays separately. Now, certain elements can be hidden from view just by hitting the Hide tab, attached to each applicable element. But be careful not to hide them all or you will have trouble seeing certain skill sets. Sure, it's great for taking snapshots, but there is a much better thing for that. After adjusting your HUD, you will want to exit and test to see if moving any element truly is to your liking. This may take a full day or more to play with it. So don't worry if it's not right away. Take your time to get it the way you are comfortable with. After you get the HUD to your liking, there is a way to share this setup with your other characters, but that is a class for Year 2 cadets. Lesson 1, Part 2, Simple Elements within the HUD. Now we begin to break down what all the elements are and what they do. This will help with giving you a better understanding of each and how to decide which one or ones are to making your heads-up display most efficient for your style of gameplay or a total waste of your time. And today we start with the simpler ones that have a very limited or strict function. So, to get started, let's again start HUD edit mode. Again, that is, hit escape, then, rearrange HUD. Number 1, the compass. Although it can be hidden, this one can be handy, as it will show you what direction your next objective is in, most of the time. However, some factions do have jamming equipment that may play Mary Hob with all navigational equipment, compass included. Number 2, Notifications Block. This is the notifications block that notifies you of when someone opens a prize or event pack. It also notifies you of when a friend or fleet, armada ally has logged on or off. And during combat it tells you who won the loot roll as well as your ship's mode status. Sadly, this one cannot be removed as it is already invisible, but there is a way to shut off certain notification types. But that is part of Cadet Second Year's lessons, related to the options menu. Number 3, Pause Status. What a total waste of space. But during a mission you can just simply stand in a safe spot and walk away for up to 30 minutes before the game boots you for being idle, long enough to run to the ship's commissary just before pummeling an enemy with phaser fire. Or taking time out to read your favorite forum to figure out what you just did wrong for completing the very mission you're not on. Oops. Now get that hot dog out of your face and full warp ahead. Number 4, Fatigue and Health Status Bar. This little guy is hideable as well as fully adjustable. It will not only tell you when you're out of stamina after doing a somersault, but it will also let you know when you are held in a stasis field. As if not being able to move was not clue enough. This will let you know if you are hit by status effects like stun, frozen, shock, or as I mentioned before held in a stasis field. Also, it will let you know of the cooldown effect before you can do another stamina-related feat. Number 5, Booster Tracker. Lets you know how much you have in your pool for one, or all the following 8 categories. Experience Boost, for level gain in both ground and space. Commendation Boost, related to your DOF assignments. Dilithium Ore Boost, temporarily improves your dilithium earnings potential, in all methods of earning dilithium. Fleet Credit Boost, and Fleet Mark Boost, both require you to be in a fleet to make use of. Reputation Mark Boost, improves your earning potential or reputation marks from all possible sources, like TFOs. Salvage Boost, increases how much salvage one can get from missions and from the act of salvage scrapping an item. Research School XP Boost, improves how many points you gain from a, R, N, D, school, or related, DOF assignment. Each category has one of 3 options. Off, noted by an empty box. Active, this shows an expanded box only for categories that have active boosters, noted by a circle. And expanded, will have a green check mark in the status drop-down. Number 6, Red Alert Notification Block. You can hide this, and your screen will still flash red, but you will no longer see the red alert text on your screen. Number 7, Interaction Block. This is where the buttons and icons to interact with other items and NPCs on the map is at. Like all the vendors, the bank, and the exchange, and so on. Number 8, Loot Roll Info, will be seen in battle if not hidden. This will notify you, if you or someone else receives an item from a random drop. Loot rolls can be set to different modes, and each has its rules, but more on that in a later lesson. Number 9, Your Status. Not only does it show your health and armor points, you can right-click with your mouse, and it will bring up a menu, to quick change to an alternative outfit, set a target focus, or bring up your info card which includes your caricature's biography that others can see. Number 10, PvP Mission Tracker. This is only used in PvP, that is to say, player versus player, so if you don't play PvP, you can safely hide it. But what does it really do? So glad you asked. It tracks your win-loss ratio compared to the other players in the match. Also, it shows how much damage you have done to the other players or team as well as any special objectives required to complete the match. Such as in this example how much of the opponent's cybersecurity I have breached and vice versa. Clicking on it will show you the detailed rules of the match if any. Number 11. Experience, Level Rank Bar. This bar not only lets you know what rank you are, in your faction, but it also shows you how you gained it. The silver bar is related to space experience, as gold is your ground experience. Left-clicking will bring up a 2-tab menu. The first of which is your Starfleet, KDF Rewards, Rank Up list. This lets you know what to expect with each promotion. And how much longer till you get there. Tab 2 Commendations, is related to Duty Officer Assignment Category Rankings. Each category is related to related assignments given out by either Engineering, Operations, Science, Medical, Tactical, or Security DOF assignments. DOF equals short for Duty Officer. Note they max at rank 4. But more on that later. But for now, if you click on each category, you will note that they each have a reward per level related to each of them. Number 12, low priority interaction. This includes things like, beam up to ship, or enter a location's alternative access. Like a mission map version of a public map location. Or the difference between going to command center or headquarters on New Romulus. Number 13, mission tracker. This one is very useful, so I don't recommend hiding it. It contains the list of both the campaign you are on, as well as the name of the related submission, and can also be used to teleport directly the current mission's starting point. Also, it will take back to the last primary save point in a mission if you were forced out of the game for some reason. That feature is great if you were forced offline or had to take a break. After all, sometimes home life intrudes even for a starship captain. Walk the dog, pet the cat, house chores, angry spouses, no problem. As soon as you return from taking out the galactic trash, just log back in and click the tab, and resume your post. However, this will not work with TFOs or events. This also works in conjunction with your mission journal. But that also is another class. Number 14, focus target info. This tells you who you are targeting and possibly their weaknesses. Number 14, B, target, of target info. Aside from being a total tongue twister, this tells you who your victim is bullying, or who your friends are attacking. Number 14, C, target info. This is the basic target info block about your target. Only showing you their remaining shields and distance from you. This will show both enemy and friendly targets, good for using long-range shield repair skills on allies. Also, it can be used by left-clicking and trigger follow mode. Convenient if your weapons are on automatic, you can just follow an ally as they do all the work as you sit by, or take out the trash, and let the ship auto-fight behind them. This concludes parts 1 and 2 of Lesson 1, the H.U.D, Cadets. Atian, Sean, dismissed. Personal log, Chief Engineer, Zenara Gehana Zeno Jeff. It took 2 long days to put her into marginally useful shape, but the Sky Lynx is now, limping along with only half an impulse engine and what humans call bubblegum and paperclips. We will manage to dock at an old pre-Federation Earth outpost currently occupied by Farangi, called Drozana Station. This will give me time to work on that instructional holo I was tasked with, what seems now like so long ago. Computer, resume recording of training program. Lesson 1, Part 3. Greetings recruits of the US's Sky Lynx, here I am with yet another lesson. Welcome back to Cross-Faction Boot Camp. Number 1. Fancy notifications. This is where the dialog box that appears during missions is located. You can move this but not deactivate it. Number 2. The Endeavor Tracker. This is a somewhat new feature. It will list up to 3 randomly picked challenges you can complete by doing very specific tasks. It ranges from using your menus to equipping specific weapon types to even redoing certain missions or attacking a specified target type. Once you have done this, it will reward you with a loot box and points. The loot box can contain anything from EC dilithium or reputation points, but also Endeavor points. These points can be spent by left-clicking on the Endeavor menu. And the points can then be used to purchase perks that will enhance your other attributes, which can be done on the first tab in the menu. The second tab is just a detailed version of the list, of which can include a list of how to complete each task. Next up, number 3A. So, let's talk about your powers tray. Not only can it be expanded and fully customized, it has command buttons attached to each slot. It can get very technical to use though, so take time to think this out thoroughly. You may have to try many options. I'm not going to kid you, that could take up to a full week of tweaking it up to perfection. Once said, it should be permanent unless you change your skill kits, your skills, crew skills, ship skills, or change ships for the space version, or when the devs make changes that require account resetting. But that has not happened in a while. Now with that all said, but how to make it do all that, you ask? To expand the tray, just click on the little icon button with the 3 blocks in echelon. When hovering the mouse over it, it will say, adjust number of trays. The ground version stops at 3 total rows, but just like space, you still get up to 10 optional trays. To access, just click on the up or down arrow to change what tray you are on. Good for saving alternative skill loadouts and keeping the original ones you like too, although the devs have not fixed it to work exactly right, so don't expect much. Now, if you notice, the tray has the numbers 1 through 0 in the items, skills boxes, as well as letters. This corresponds to your alphanumerical keys on your keyboard. 1C equals hold the letter C and then press 1 and so on. 3B. So, let's start with the ground tray. The little recycle button is actually to activate your spacesuit. Not to be mistook for your weapons change out on the other side. Yes, that little block is part of the powers tray. But in the HUD edit mode, this is not accounted for. So be aware while you are editing your tray's location to be sure to account for the space. The bottom right button block toggles your special armor tray. Some armors have special abilities like my Breen armor. So, clicking this will bring up the box that has its trigger button in it. No point in using this box if you only have regular armor. Also, when triggered, this box will instead show your spacesuit controls, until switched off or removed. Number 3C. Space H.U.D tray. This has a few extra features, and also depending on both the ship and/or faction. Carriers will have 1 or 2 extra HUD blocks for fighter bays, and Romulan ships have the Singularity Core Options tray added to your HUD. Okay, just one last thing. A hidden feature. Auto toggle. This works both in space and on the ground. Just simply double click on your attack options till they glow green, but to make use of it you must adjust certain options in the options menu so that it is both permanent and functions properly. And that is a different class entirely. Number 4. Team status. Will only show when you're in a team, unless you hide it. I don't recommend doing that, if you do TFOs or team missions a lot. Also, the team status has team commands for solo mode and team role assignment options as well as part of the loot role options in live Team vs PvE mode. This includes the team leader's select option and the invite to team options. So, now you ask, but how to do all that neat stuff? Okay, let's start with solo mode ground since you will be using this a lot in missions. Number 4A. Ground solo. Let's start with the 6 tabs across the top. Starting on the far left. Number 1, switches your crew to passive mode. This means they will just stand there like total idiots because you were dumb enough to forget that you triggered this tab, ha 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 ha. No really. It is true. This tab will order them to just stand there. Number 2, your crew will attack an enemy or do nothing. If they can't shoot it, it isn't their problem. Lazy bastards. Number 3, this option will make your crew a bit smarter, depending on the target, will have them either attack or heal. Great for having your crew help your friends while you handle that rock monster all by your lonesome as it smashes you to pieces, right where you want it. Oof. Number 4. If you are the kind of captain that does not like to mess up your uniform. Or just a stickler for Federation protocol in regards to captains not getting into a life-ending battle to the end with the rock monster. This little option will allow you to tell the whole crew to go to hell for you, stand guard, or to get the hell out of your damn way and don't let them in the tunnel behind you sort of thing. Number 5. We will cover this in regular team mode later. And lastly, number 6. In solo mode this will pop up a display option that will either show or hide your crew's current loaded abilities. If you choose to use this feature you won't have to load their abilities into your tray, they can be instead triggered from here, or this can be used as a secondary location for it. Up to you. Also, we'll show what special buffs they each have triggered, or what disabling effects afflict them. Number 4B. You may have noticed that the 3 tabs next to each crew member is the same as some of the options across the top. There is a reason for that. They command the specific crew member. At both tab locations, click once to activate, twice to deactivate. Clicking the middle of the crew members tab will bring up their individual focus and info menu. To learn about focus you will need to take one of the advanced settings courses. Cadets. Atian, Sean. Dismissed.
waiting. We have everything you need for shore leave, and a few things that you didn't even know you wanted. Shopping, drinking, dining, entertainment. You'll find it all here. And don't forget the 77th rule of acquisition. If you break it, I'll charge you for it.
Our arrival at Drozana Station raised a few questions our captain was not wanting to answer for, so in trade for some parts and no questions asked, the captain pimped me out as a mechanic to the station's needs. Whoever has been working in the station's engineering corps the last decade was a horrible electrician. But that all aside, this will give me more opportunities to complete my first lesson, perhaps, and gain some extra credits for the ship. It is, after all, still a long trip home to Andoria. Computer, resume recording of training program. Lesson 1, Part 4, Chat box. Let's start across the top, going from left to right. Number 1, far left, notifications. This is where your server shutdown notice and timer will appear, and anything else server maintenance related. Number 2, chat. This is your primary social source. More later on how to switch chat types, but most likely are already accustomed to it. Number 3, NPC. This is where non-player caricature chatter from your missions and so on is put. If you forget your mission orders, you may be able to look here for clues. Note, not all messages will end up here. Some are sent or spoken through the fancy interaction box and so will not show up. Number 4, combat. This is where all the combat text will show up and other battle-related text, like how much damage you receive or deal during combat, as well as status changes caused by you or the opponent. Yes, even during PvP. Now for the bottom. Number 1, chat typing window. This is where you insert your 10 cents on the topic of the day in ESD, or ask silly questions of your fellow capitans. This box also contains an indicator of which chat you are texting in. At basic, this includes local chat, for talking to only people on the same map and instance as you, zone chat, for talking to players on all instances of the map you're on. Private messaging. In some games this is called whisper. If you join a TFO or a group, team chat will be made available at that point. But during combat there really will be no time to text. If you join a fleet, fleet chat will be available, and if you are the fleet leader or founder, the officers chat will also be available. Also, if you join an armada there will likely be an armada chat. You can create your own chat, but more on that later. Number 2, far right, bottom button. This controls your microphone. Number 3, far right, top button. Once clicked, it will take you to a menu. The options within that menu is as follows. Number 3, A, set channel. This is how you switch between the aforementioned different channels, especially if they are not yet listed across the top of your chat box, and helps to direct your messages to those channels. Note, if you have more than one caricature in your account, and are in different fleets, you will see all related channels to all fleets and armadas you are in, no matter what tune you are currently on. In other words, they will be account-wide. Number 3, B, find team menu. This will bring up a menu with a lot of tabs across the top. Number 3, B, Alpha 1, find team. This is a list of players who are looking for a team, or are team leaders looking for players to join them. It also shows the level of difficulty or task of the mission as well as location, and requirements if any. On the bottom left-hand side is where you can, after selecting a team or player, can send an invite, or send a private message by clicking Tell, to request more information. Also, you can set your team search status restrictions, by clicking Set Status, or set your looking for team status by clicking on LFT settings. And also, you will find your privacy settings where you can restrict who can even see you exist. And this includes settings for invites, challenges and messaging restrictions. Sick of pesky noobs sending you random invites? This is where that's remedied. Number 3, B, Alpha 2, find a fleet. This shows you all the fleets and armadas that are publicly listed, what they are about, and some info about them, as well as requirements of new players if any. Also, it will show their website or Discord info for further contact options. and languages spoken. Number 3, B, Alpha 3, team settings. This is where you can set your join team mode. Open team. Anyone can invite you. Allow requests. This requires that they know who you are and you have allowed requests set in your other team settings. Closed team. Same here, except this is a bit more complicated and saved for another class. Loot mode. This is where you set your loot mode. Remember I said there is a way to set that? Well, this is it. Let's start with round robin. Each player gets to loot all that drops on their turn. Free for all. All loot is first come first served. Whoever grabs it first gets it. Need or greed. When an item drops, a pop-up menu will show, and you can choose to need or greed. Need equals you want to equip it. Greed equals you want it but more likely just to sell it. No matter what one you pick, your faction's litigations team will delegate between you and all the other capitans in their decision of need or greed to determine who actually gets it. Master looter. Team leader gets it all and if generous will dole it out later. Loot threshold sets the loot quality filter, limiting the quality of the gear you will collect from the above loot mode, thus ignoring all the lesser quality stuff for the other players to have. Number 3, B, Alpha 4, friends. This list allows you to send messages in the comments section, and includes an invite to team, request invite, decline invite, and warp to friend, as well as add friend. There is a less complicated version in a later part of this lesson. Number 3, B, Alpha 6, ignored player management list. Number 3, B, Alpha 5, a search tab to find new friends, teammates, or look for recruits for your fleet. This is affected by all the previously mentioned status settings notifiers. 4 fleet. 5 friends, a simpler version of the other friends tab. 6 emotes. All your stance and dance emotes are here, and for the dance competitions on Nimbus and Risa, you can pin the emote menu to your screen. 7 notification settings. This is one of the places where you turn on, or off, notifications alerts. We will cover that in more detail, in further classes. 8 chat settings. This will let you add or remove your own chat channels as well as color code them along with organizing them into groups, and also you can create multiple chat boxes and restrict what chat services are within each. For example, you can make chat box 1 for all in-game AI admin related stuff, then another chat box for NPC and fleet chatter only, then another for friends, fleet and armada, then a third, and so on for zone and local chat, but doing so would clog up your screen. That option is however really good if you have your computer linked to your flat screen TV, then you won't have to squint from shrinking them all. Then the channels tab. It lists all the channels that you are in and info of who owns them and privacy status of the channel. This also is where you join channels you are invited to as well as create new ones. Number 9, mic volume. If your microphone is on or on push to talk, you can use this to control your in-game microphone volume, which can be pinned. Disable voice chat is only active if you don't already have your microphone disabled through the options menu. See Year 2 classes. And then mic test to see if it is working properly. This concludes parts 4 of Lesson 1. Having repaired all the inhabited parts of the station, and a few necessary spot repairs, was enough to barter for the parts we needed. So, from that point on, quietly all my crew staff and I went to work on the Skylinks, giving it a severe full upgrade. So much of an upgrade the captain legitimized the need to redesignate the ship. And so, the maiden voyage of the Andorian Imperial Guard, IGS Skylinks, ship class, Kaizen Escort, T5X, serial ID, AT-9, 42, 47C, modified, upgraded with the special weapon called Ravager Shriek, began its trek home on stardate 76,893.7, and so I requested from the captain a slow journey home at least till after we test the weapon out, and I finished the training manual. Section 5, the Minimap. Okay, so it sounds like a very short, and total no-brainer topic, right? Wrong. Being a map is just its main thing, so let's discuss. Going clockwise. Part 1, across the top. 1A, top left, time clock. Your only link to the real world is linked to your computer's time set, so it should be accurate. If for some reason you are suffering from lag in-game and by coincidence it happens each time the time changes, it is because you are not set to the proper time zone you live in, and thus your connective handshake will be compromised. This is true with a lot of online games and other programs too. So, keep in mind that your clock may just be simply off by a microsecond and needs resynchronization. 1b, top middle. This block tells you where you're at and what instance version of the map that you're on. And left-clicking on it will pop up an option to change instances. 1c, top right, corner, brings up a larger version of the map with a few options. Area map, center on player, lose track of where you are on the map? Use center on player to fix that fast. Can't find your friends but they say they are at the same location? Change instance. When changing instances, the list will show which instances your friends are in. Sadly, it won't tell you which friends are in them specifically. Looking for something? Next objective? Use scan area. Kind of silly for the galaxy map to be available in ground mode, but it is. I did mention the devs are on crack, right? In space you can click on the systems to set your autopilot. However, it will be grayed out on ground. Warning, sometimes autopilot malfunctions and you don't stop at destination. So always reset autopilot after you come out of slipstream, just in case. Galaxy map. Although interaction is not available here, this map will show you all the quadrants together and how they relate. This is handy if you're in the alpha quadrant and the system you are looking for is not. System list lists all systems in the quadrant you are in. Can be looked for specifically and clicked to execute auto navigation. 1b, caricature status, has the person icon. Press U on your standard keyboard to alt access this menu. More information in advanced class of this topic. But in short, it's where all your equipped loadout information for you and your bridge officers and current loaded ship are at. 1c, inventory, click I to quick access this very menu. You should be used to this one by now. 1d, postal system, you can send and receive in-game email messages and even transfer certain equipment that is not yet bound to you or your account, and you can even send it to your other caricatures or just send to your handle for later use as you see fit. Note you no longer must go to a postal console to send or accept items. Also, recently they changed it so all exchange items or cash received from the exchange sales are sent this way. 1e, social menu. This is an alternative access to your social menu. We showed you this in detail through the chat box access point. Told you there is a lot to it. And now the game's main menu. This is the other way to access the game menu besides the escape key. We will explore that some more in Lesson 2. Help and support is broken into 8 tabs. The first one is also accessed by the main menu and is a detailed news report on the changes and content additions made to the game, as well as a few words from all the different teams that make this game still function in regards to any updates, bug fixes, or other changes planned in the future. Access library computer. This is where you can find more information on how this game works and how to use it all, including topics covered in the in-game tutorial you may have skipped. Help tips. Turn this on to receive help tips. Report player behavior. This is the call to the gamer police, but make sure to read the disclosure before you start flooding it with complaint tickets. Just because they cut you off in the line for the tailor, but do report obnoxious behavior and bullying. I'm stuck. Yes, there is a button for that. That moment when you fall into the cracks of the universe, or get faced between walls, or are falling into space without a ship during what seemed like a safe stroll through ESD or KDFHQ. Account support seems to still be handled by ARC support even though it is now Gearbox running the show. That may change later. Caricature problems. Having issues with non-responsive or missing abilities. Research and development issues. Mission related. Other. This is where to send in these types of tickets. Then add a summary and a brief description. Then expect an real-world email within 24 hours. Then at that point you can add photos if you have any. Item problems. The first category is Zen related. Muds Market, starter packs, and all other things you find in the Zen store have a subcategory here. Then select the product pack, then the item within it. Or other problem, fill in the blank. Then select the type of problem from a drop-down list. Then fill out the summary and then the description. Now across the bottom left to right. We will cover these in more detail at a later time. Though I imagine you will get a good idea of most of them fairly quick on your own. This is one of the access points for the Zen store in-game along with through the inventory menu, but more on that way later. Next is the dilithium store. This is where you will find the Phoenix pack when it is available, and the item reclaim for event account wide rewards will be here under the reclaim tab. Duty officers tab. Once you are high enough level, this will be opened. Looking to do PvE or PvP missions? This is the access tab for that. But that is for the advanced classes. Now for the down arrow in the corner. This opens a drop-down tab containing yet another redundant access point for the dilithium exchange that can also be accessed through your inventory menu. Access your ship's bridge. To do so you must first be in space, or it will be grayed out. If you have an MP3 player on your computer, you can link it into the game and control it here. And game credits. Want to see who messed up made the game the glorious bug glitch fest, wonderful awesome galactic space game we all know and love. This is where you do that. This concludes Lesson 1. Congratulations! You have now just fully earned the Cadet Year 1 badge. Cadets, attention! Dismissed. The Infinite Frontier. This was the maiden voyage of the IGS Skylynx T5X.